Okay. Hi, Elliot. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey Douglas, thanks for having me. Great to be here. I'm feeling great.
Oh, my pleasure. Judging by your accent, I'm going to guess that you're in London.
Actually, just outside of London, in a town called Northampton, about an hour north of London, up the motorway or the freeway, as
Okay.
as you guys would call it.
Well, I'm not real good at specific British accents, but generally speaking, I can tell the difference between British and Australian is pretty easy to discern, and Scottish and Irish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's pretty easy to distinguish the Scottish and the Irish for sure. And sometimes actually people say I sound Australian. I'm not sure why, but I seem to get it all the time. But it was new to me. But a lot of people ask, "Hey, are you Australian?" Maybe they're just not as perhaps clued in on the different sounds of the accents, like you've mentioned.
Well, I know there's all sorts of different accents, and I think the Beatles sort of made famous the Liverpool accent back in the day,
Yeah,
you know, which has
yeah, that's
quite
one
a
of
yeah,
the tough ones for sure.
which has quite a different sound than somebody from East London or in the South or something like that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got a book you're promoting. The book is called Teaching on Your Own Terms: The 5 Steps to Building the Online Teaching Business of Your Dreams. Now, specifically, this is for what sort of teaching? I mean, is this people teaching privately, or is this something you're advocating for public schools?
Great question, Douglas. So, like the book can really help. I was put them into three different categories. People, so teachers, of course, who are in the classroom who would want to launch a potential tutoring business online, and so they could teach on their own terms. So whether that was just to earn a little bit of additional teaching income alongside their classroom job, or potentially go all in and turn it into a full-time thing. It's also for tutors who are already working and teaching students online who want to grow their student base. And then also, pretty established tutoring businesses who are really wanting to kind of scale what they've already built. So whether that is just student numbers, hire teams, and hire teachers, and just really improve their all-round tutoring business. So if it was marketing, if it was the sales side, if it was the service they were providing to the students. So it really caters for all three of those kind of buckets. Teachers with no experience teaching online who might see this as an opportunity, and teachers who've already started, or people who are really well established already.
Well, online teaching has been around for some time. I can remember when the internet first became a thing, online universities started to pop up, and people didn't take them very seriously. I mean, I'm talking back in the 90s. Now they're completely accredited and perfectly legitimate. But at the time, I can remember thinking, oh, this is a great idea because people who are adults returning to advance their studies, who are already working, who are already established, who have families, who have jobs, and maybe they just want to get a master's degree or something like that. They can do it on their own time and not be in the confines of having a schedule. And I really like that idea. Fast forward to 2020, when we had the COVID epidemic, and the kids were forced to stay home and be online. There was a lot of debate about it, about whether or not this should be the thing, this should be the norm, or if it was detrimental to the kids' social abilities because they weren't interacting person to person. And they said that it really, some people said that it affected their socialization skills. What do you think?
I think you need both, and so I'm a big believer that the main reason I send my children to school is for the social interaction, like, to be honest. And so we kind of have a split divide in our household where my wife thinks homeschooling would be great, but having been a teacher, I really do feel that it's very important for the kids to still go to school. But I also think having something additional, so we have tutors online as well as like in the in-school classroom, for the kids. And so I think it's a perfect complement for the student of having both. And so the online makes it way more accessible for the parents. Most parents are busy. these days, and especially with cost of living and things like that rising in wherever you are in the world, most parents are working late, so they haven't got like the time to, go out and take the kids here and there. And so online just makes it so accessible. And you mentioned 2020 and when it kind of shifted, Zoom's annual revenues, I think, were about 330 million in 2019. And I think they went past a billion in the year after 2020. So that just made everyone's got a Zoom account now, right? So the parents know how to log on to Zoom, which means that the kids can access better education alongside their schooling. And it also creates the opportunity for the teachers as well to do that very easily after school too. So I think it's a great complement to have both, personally.
Let me ask you something about your book specifically. Who is this geared for? Like, who would be the target audience for your book?
Really just academic teachers. So anything that's taught in a school, and whether it's taught at a college or university as well. So any teacher who's teaching like an academic specific subject, it's really geared towards them. And like the reason being, I've been a teacher, as teachers being in my in generations in my family. My mum only just retired this year, and she's ended up going back to supply because she missed it so much. Her dad was a teacher, and so it's really kind of been in my family's generations for a while. And so back when I was teaching, when I was in the school, there were just a lot of teachers who were struggling with the mindset, the well-being, this type of thing. And so and then there's the pay as well. And so it's to really help those teachers who potentially might even quit the profession actually continue to do and follow their passion to teach, but do so in a way that they might find that they do have a little bit more freedom, whether it's they need to make more income, and whether they just really want to, have their own autonomy on the way that they teach as well. So it's really for those classroom teachers, or as I said at the start, teachers who've already kind of made the jump and gone online to supplement what they're already doing.
Is any of this book sort of from your observations as a teacher?
No, so the book's really geared around purely helping people get started with an actual online tutoring business. So I had this idea to help the school teachers back in 2019, and to be honest, I was scared to put it out there. So I wasn't pressing the go button, and sometimes that's the biggest roadblock for most people, right? Like they don't just press go and they don't just take action. And so I built all of these teachings out to help the teachers, find their students to teach online, how they would structure the classes and all of this based on what I'd kind of done with a online business that I'd started working with clients after I'd left teaching. And so I had it all ready to go, and I didn't dare launch it in 2019. And then of course the school shut. So that really just forced my hand. And so that was right at the beginning of 2020. It was honestly the day that the Prime Minister in the UK, Boris Johnson at the time, shut the schools. The next day I was speaking to teachers about this new opportunity. And so that was 5 years ago now. And so really the book is everything that we've learned and I had learned in walking teachers through the methods to help them find students, help them create these online tutoring programs so that the students could work together in groups and the results wouldn't be sacrificed. And so you mentioned previously that the students were perhaps suffering depression or, so that the social isolation. Well, that was one of the things we really wanted to tackle because, I'm a big believer that if you can create the right environment for the students, then they're going to thrive. If they can get around other students who've got similar abilities, similar goals, then it really does create that winning environment. And so that was really kind of what we tried to establish for the teachers to teach groups, so that we could create this environment for students to thrive, but at the same time allow teachers to optimize their time better as well. So that's kind of what the book's about, just everything that we've learned since 2020, working with thousands of teachers across the globe, and all of the kind of failures that we've seen, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And so it's really just to give people a head start and follow in the steps of what we've taught the other teachers we've worked with.
Are the teachers primarily teaching adults or teaching children or both?
We have a mix. It's predominantly students within a school setting, right? So your kindergarten, so K through through 12, and then university level. There are some teachers, with that being said, who we do work with, and that they are teaching adults. So for example, we just were speaking with a lady this afternoon, and she was doing career placement with adults, and it was for adults specifically that had just arrived in the country that needed help learning and improving their English, for example. So there are some teachers who do work with adults. Yeah.
We've got just about 1 minute left. So it does say the 5 steps. Can you give us one?
Yeah. Okay. Well, like, this is the most important one, I think, and it's how you position yourself as the go-to expert or the teacher. And so one of the biggest things or biggest mistakes and roadblocks that we see teachers make when they try and go online is to try and teach everybody. And when you do that, you just blend in like a pebble on the beach. So if there's one bit of advice that I could give, it's the step in the book where we talk about really kind of focusing on one key core subject that you're an expert at teaching in, and really focusing on one specific type of student, so the age and ability level, because that allows you to bring students who are that similar ability, similar stage, who want the same goal and result, that you can then group them together to create that winning environment. And so that would be the key part of the entire process that just sets the business up to succeed right from the beginning. And also, as I said, build that winning environment for the students.
Well, Elliot, I think on that we're going to have to wind this down. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Again, the book is called Teaching on Your Own Terms. The author is Elliot Phillips. Has the book been released?
Yes, yeah, it's been released. You can grab it on Amazon. You can get it there, or you can get it from our site, teachonyourownterms.com. And there's some additional bonuses if you wanted to grab it from us, like a free course to help you implement the steps in the book.
Teachonyourown.com, you said?
Teachonyourownterms.com.
Terms. Okay. All right, great. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. Nice meeting you, and best of luck with your work.
Appreciate it. You too.